No introduction required. Y'all see the title of this video. Out the gate. Man, I never thought I'd see today, but the trauma bonding is real. Fellas, peak game on this. You got Vera Papasova. I don't care if I butchered her name. You know, the fake blonde that tried to do that CNN hit piece on the Manosphere, claiming that the Manosphere is quote unquote white supremacy and UFC and all that other retarded fuck shit. Well, apparently it's come to my attention that she just got interviewed by matchmaker Maria, who also did a smear campaign on the Manosphere, only to come back in the same video to whine and cry about the Manosphere clapping back on her. And lo and behold, Vera Papasova was also crying over the fact that her CNN hit piece was being mocked at. And of course, you have another person I don't care much about, but look at them having a complete and utter trauma bonding session. Yes, it's a trauma bonding session. And what's more, not just myself, but a few others is starting to see a pattern here. And of course, I'm going to let everybody know about this shit. It seems that the feminists are now starting to get desperate. What's more, they now excuse me. What's more, they now have to go back and rethink their strategy now. In which if you actually take the time and actually do research, check this out. Now, we all know that the feminists has completely lost one of their powerful allies in their fight against Manosphere, Red Pill, and these male spaces, which was the federal government. Now that the federal government cannot censor people's freedom of speech, now the feminists are getting desperate. Now the feminists are now helplessly dependent on the media to try to go after the Manosphere. And this is from all the research I gathered. Not just myself, but others gathered as well. That's right. The feminists are now counting on the media to go after the Manosphere. However, it seems like the feminists haven't learned their lesson about fear mongering and using propaganda to try to silence their opposition. It never works. It never works. And despite what the retarded fucks in the comment section say, we actually know what's really happening. The vast majority, as we all predicted, completely calls their claims bullshit. Vera claims that the Manosphere is all white supremacy. Yet still can explain why there's so many men of other races inside the Manosphere. One person clearly stated that. So let me get this straight. So these white supremacy and these white nationalists is now starting to accept men of other races. That includes black and Jewish men as part of this quote unquote white supremacist manosphere. That doesn't make no goddamn sense. Second, that's number one. Number two, what does the UFC and MMA got to do with the manosphere? Absolutely nothing. And what's more, they are scared. They are scared to actually delve deep inside the manosphere. Unquote. But then again, I'm not. But then again, Uncle JD is not surprised that the media is now trying to step up and now trying to take the manosphere on. I mean, look. I mean, if you're on YouTube right now, type in Manosphere in the search engine. You will see what we all call as flooding. Now, what is flooding, you ask? I'll show you. Now, flooding is when is when you t- is when you got a bunch of anti pro what may have you. In this case, anti manosphere related bullshit. They You got the anti manosphere, the haters, the feminists, the simps. They will completely flood a search a search engine with anti manosphere content. All the way to a point to where if you type in manosphere, they'll try their very hardest to make sure anti manosphere rhetoric gets brought up first. But you also know something else too? But y'all also want to know something else too? This also shows that the anti-manosphere is afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid that the manosphere is going to pop up it's going to get even more popular. It's going to get even more notoriety. But guess what? What they're trying to do is no cure. They think trying to put anti-manosphere rhetoric at the very they believe putting anti-manosphere rhetoric at the very top of the search engine is going to convince and young men to avoid the manosphere. What they're actually doing is giving them a reason why they should look up manosphere content. Boy, these anti-manosphere retarded fucks certainly know what the hell they're doing. But the question is, will it work? Because as far as we're in the back seeing, it ain't working. And through all of this bullshit, they're not convincing men, young men, and what may have you that the manosphere is bad. What they're really doing is convincing these men why they should look up the manosphere even more. If the anti-manosphere is complaining, then guess what's going to happen? They're going to look even more deeper into the manosphere on this shit. This and this goes back to what Uncle JD said before. The only thing they're doing is promoting and advertising the Manosphere. Then they sit there and they wonder why they still stuck on square one. No shit. They sit there and wonder why the Manosphere, Red Pill, and these male spaces continue to grow despite all their desperate attempts. Despite all their desperate attempts to try to stop the Manosphere. And the crazy part about it, oh my Lord. Whew. All this is coming from the opposition. And what have I said about the opposition? That's like Burger King trying to convince everybody that McDonald's uses rat meat to make their burgers in a desperate attempt to make people stop eating at McDonald's and start eating at Burger King. However, the shit doesn't work because everybody knows that Burger King is McDonald's opposition. They know that Burger King and McDonald's are competitors. And because they are competitors, how can Burger King believe that people is going to stop eating at McDonald's if they turn around and claim that McDonald's uses rat meat for burgers? And it's the same for this situation as well. Everybody knows that the feminists is the opposition of the Manosphere. So anything they say about the Manosphere, guess what? Everybody knows that they're the opposition of the Manosphere. So why should they take these feminists seriously? I don't know what else to say on this matter. But one thing's for certain. If the feminists are so afraid of the Manosphere to the point to where they now have to seek the media, whether it's CNN or any of these other biased news outlets, in a desperate attempt to try to stop the Manosphere, then this shit ain't working out the gate. Now I said what I had to say. I'm done and I'm out this bitch. Later.